Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lili Nishma Simi Merasi Ruspas Mordechai. Welcome to all the guests we have with us from Lakewood. What's your name again?
Nosson Bergstein.
Reb Nosson Bergstein. Shalom Aleichem. Your name? Okay, yeah, you've been there a few times. Schmack, we have
the
new guest table. It even comes with Gemaras. Beis Hashem is going to come with drinks and merch. Schmack. Shalom Aleichem, Reb Ari Chaimowitz. So we have a big schus. Reb Ari Chaimowitz, a little over a year ago, a year and a month, he came to this room. Actually started in my house in the morning, and he filmed something called What a Day. Check it out. It's on YouTube and on many platforms. He says it has over 150,000 views. On YouTube alone, over 50,000. Different platforms, 8 different platforms. Did a phenomenal job and brought a lot of people to Torah through it. A lot of people. What happened was filming, and the whole day I'm saying, but what about you? What's going to be with you? When are you going to start? So he started that day, and never missed an email, he says. Never email, but sometimes yes. And he explained to me this morning, it's not a joke. It gives him chizuk, it gives him this. Could I say your story a little bit?
Yes.
This morning, we cried together. He told me about the trauma that he has to open up a Gemara. He learned with us for over a year, and not once did he open up the Gemara. He watches it, because in Cheder, the first week that they learned Gemara, he didn't do so well. The boys made fun of him. The Rebbe made fun of him. No frask, but a frask to the neshama. And he has trauma that he can't get out of right now. But Lamaisa, he said, you know what, even though I don't like Gemara, he used a stronger lashon. He says, I hate Gemara. Even though I hate Gemara, I'm going to learn for 30 days. I'm going to take it by myself for 30 days. And he's never looked back. Not only that, our photographer, which you can't, he's right over there. Naftali, the photographer, who was here last year, he also started the daf, not that day, a few months later, and he's with us every single day.
In the Hebrew shiur.
Israeli. So, yishkar for being here. So what he's doing is, he's doing the same exact thing he did a year ago, but for Hebrew, for the Israelis.
A little different. We're going to interview on locations. We're going to Eli Dyckman on this.
And the mayor of the city who does the daf with us, and different things. Okay. Bekitzer, so behave well, pretend that you don't know about this, and that this is how it is normally. All your jokes that are inappropriate, keep to yourself. No. He's not really going to be recording now, but just this first part. So Yishkoyach, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for doing the daf with us. And here's a person who, because of what he does, he took his parnasa, whatever, his thing, and he brought, I don't know how many dozens, if not hundreds, because I've received mails upon, how many people do you think joined this year because of you?
I would say at least 100.
At least 100 people?
It's more than enough for me.
It's a lot. It's a lot of schusim. Beis Hashem, with the Hebrew one, you'll do even better. But I want to show you something. This guy, we could all learn from this. We could all learn from this guy. He's what they call a CEO in personality. He runs, they know him, a very big organization in Israel. Plus, he has a bunch of halls, wedding halls. He himself is mishuga l'dover echad. He wants to bring more people to Torah. He went and rented a beautiful space in an office building in Bnei Brak, and he's calling it the official first MDY satellite location. It's just for this.
בשעה טובה ומוצלחת, נתנו צ'קים כבר למקום, ואנחנו עכשיו ניקח כמה ימים כדי לארגן פה את המקום, להביא פה ציוד, מסך גדול, כל מה שצריך, וכיסאות, שולחנות, ובעזרת השם פה יתקיים השיעור מרכז MDY בני ברק, בעזרת השם ממש בקרוב.
Okay, Rabbi Eli, anybody could do that. Anybody can go ahead. He's not asking for anything in return. He's the one that he sponsored the shiur on Tu B'Shvat. We had over 1,000 people in Bnei Brak. He put up the advertising and then on the radio with it. He's a doer. Please check Check this out. MDY is a corporate sponsor of the Friendship Circle Brooklyn Bike Ride. I guess somebody sponsored it, not MDY themselves, but I don't know. Something happened over there. Noah, check this out. Bunch of frum guys biking. You what? Reb Eli and MDY, I cannot thank you enough for your daily daf. You make it so accessible and entertaining that I really look forward to each day. It has really changed my life, opened up a whole new world for me. It has also brought me closer to my two sons, both now in Yeshiva in Johannesburg. I joined Yeshiva at McGill and dropped off at Yevamis and came back at Bava Basra, Amud Beis. I've been going strong since. I'm the owner of Cape Jewel Wines from South Africa. I've had the chus to attend 2 live shiurim. He gave a customized Daf Yomi wine. I'd like to make you the following offers to help grow this daf. Number 1, offer to sponsor up to 300 bottles of Cape Jewel wine in the U.S., New York, New Jersey, and possibly Florida, where we have distribution for the following. All new people signed up for Avodah Zarah and completing it. Wow. I got to speak to him. I don't know if it's an offer or not. He said, call him. You'll call him. I'll give you this thing. Anybody, it's like the salami that Shmulik gave to everybody, the Romanian salami, plus free Gemara. Which reminds me that Fishel is officially giving $250 to anybody that does Avodah Zarah and finishes it. I'll show you the thing tomorrow. You have to what? New people, and you have to. He's a stickler. You have to do every single day. You have to click off on his WhatsApp, and you have to say a chiddush, like not a chiddush, like show that you watched the shiur on regular speed. It can't be 1.5 speed. Okay.
Say learns about Zarah.
What?
Say learns about Zarah.
I say it on purpose. Do Avodah Zarah. All MDYers, huh?
What is about the speed?
You want his phone number? All MDYers buy 2 bottles and get a 3rd bottle free of the duration of Avodah Zarah. Customized MDY co-branded label. I'd like to see how we can make this work for Avodah Zarah. Oived Avodah Zarah. Work for Avodah Zarah. Maybe anyone who buys 2 more bottles and okay, but kids, sir, please contact me to make this happen. Thanks once again for all your hard work, creating an amazing experience to learn Torah with the Olam and feeling part of the Chevra. May you learn the shiur many years to come. Warm regards, Sion Gelger, Cape Jewel, and Klein Drinking Wines. Avoisai, don't forget, we're starting up Avodah Zarah in 9 days. 9 days. Next Friday. It's a Masechta that's easy to convince people to join. It works perfectly for Bein Hazmanim, for the summer vacation. It's 67 days. And it's great. It's easy, geschmack, fun, stories, agadita, everything. It's basically Shevuos, but the opposite. Can't believe I said that. Okay. He told me somebody that's very close to him started with us, did Makis, and dropped out at Shevuos. Like, we had people that dropped out in Yevamis and Shevuos. Erevin is great.
Good morning, Rabbi Isai! Welcome back to Monday with Maishi. Today we're going to showcase Malzo Satmar, the Hillel Sabrina finished Shas. After 12 years, they finished Shas. So now what?
The kids are the art scroll. One more, Rabbi Isai. I like his email, mdyshearfan@gmail.com. Subject, changed my life. I thought this was a kiss from Hashem, so I threw it in here. Dear Reb Eli, I'm from Los Angeles. I'm 33 years old, and I watch the shiur every day. It really inspires me. I brought my father and brothers to MDY. Even my 4-year-old daughter likes to watch the Good Morning Rabbi Say she loves it. Right when I get in the car, she says, play This week alone, maybe 3-4 people told me the same exact thing about their little children. They want to see videos of They don't want to see the shtusim, they want to see You really changed my life and my family's life. By the way, listen, that's why this is a kiss from Hashem. By the way, I haven't missed an email since Bava Basra Daf Beis. That's much like Ribari. You guys, you want me to skip the emails, do the emails after this year? There's some people that say, tell them why. Say it nice and loud. Why emails? There are people in this room that say don't do emails anymore.
Say don't do the Gemara.
You're right. So that's why we got to balance it. That's what we do. Quickly.
This is what brings me in. I see people behind it. I feel like a community. I'm coming for the people, for the emails. I'm not coming for the Gemara.
Wow. Okay.
I stay for the Gemara, but I don't.
He comes for this and he stays for that. Rabbi, we have to give a big mazel tov to David Bernard David. Bernard David, Leiby's father, Leiby also. His granddaughter got married here. Granddaughter, right? Last night, big mazel tov. He wasn't able to make it. So a tremendous mazel tov. He's probably on right now. So mazel tov. Rabbi say mazel tov to him. Shout out to my nephew Moshe Perentinsky.
He's the first chabura.
He's the first chabura from Manchester. Should see a lot of nachas. I know his wife, his whole mishpacha went and they left him behind over there in Manchester. So we're here with you. We're sharing your simcha. Shout out to my nephew Moshe Perentinsky, who's 13 and does the daf every day. 13 and does the daf every day. He really loves it. All right. Oh, I don't know what. Somebody wants to answer my daughter? No? I'll just. It's geschmack because. Oh, Ari. Yeah, okay, Seder. Let's start. Oh, we have to. Anonymous and separately sponsored Anonymous Hatzlacha bruchnius. No. I don't know, like they don't chap that I'm. Okay. Utah's the different time zone. Monthly sponsors ActualEyes in honor of David Merkin of Eastern Union, all the Silver Spring daffers. Eli Dyckman for the Refuah sheleimah of TINOK and Rivka. TCS Israel powered by TALKNSAVE. Weekly official. Anonymous in honor of Reb Eli and his family and the whole MDY staff to continue to spread Torah. Jared Ort. Thank you to Reb Eli Stefansky and the whole MDY Chevra for including me in your share. Jared Shkoyach. Daily sponsors in Investwood Homes, Manchester. L'ilui nishmas Mar Sarah Bas Reb Levi Yisachar Oleh Shalom. Anonymous. L'ilui nishmas from David Ben Tzvi Hirsch. Shalom should have an aliyah. Ezra Margot Grabie, in honor of Hillel and Sabrina Kamionski, for opening their house during Hila's year of seminary. Is that how you spell it? Is it pronounce it Hila? Hila's year of seminary. MDY Kids, monthly innovations, chus for official, Achon and Akiva, Rivki, and Mrs. Stefansky. Art of the month. Refuah sheleimah for Yonatan Eitan ben Basheva Bracha. For chus for Reb Eli. They're writing a Sefer Torah now for Yonatan Eitan. For Schus for Reb Eli and the whole. I got 2 requests to advertise the fact, 2 Sefer Torahs. One for Reb Feinstein. I don't want to mix up the name because one is the one that was Nifter. Not Reb Moshe, Reb Moshe's son. Reb David. No, which one was Nifter? Reb David. Okay, fine. I don't. Reb David Feinstein. They asked me to say. I said no. We don't advertise anything. And not for this either. I'm mentioning it. For Schus for Reb Eli and the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable so many. In honor of Yossi Klein and Mark Ashkenazi for all the work they do. Rabbi Sai, what's going to happen is like this. We have about 18-20 lines that we have to finish up from the other sugi yesterday, and then it's super easy. In fact, it's repetitive, mamish easy stuff. So, what did we learn yesterday? We learned that when it comes to the famous Shevuos of Moed B'Miktsas, everybody knows Moed B'Miktsas. I admit that I owe a little bit of money. Everybody knows that you admit at least 1 pruta. That's normal. A pruta is normal. But what people don't realize is that there's 2 other components that we need to address. First of all, there needs to be a claim. There's a minimum claim. You can't claim 2 prutas and the guy admits to 1 pruta. That does not work according to anybody. What's the minimum claim? The minimum claim, according to Shmuel, is 2 kesef. How much is 2 kesef? So I saw yesterday a nice way to remember. It says, Has kol haaretz mipanov. Has, samachei, would be 2 kesef, almost. It's 64. Each kesef is 32, times 2 is 64. Now, why Has at 65? That goes well with Rav. Rav says 2 kesef plus 1 pruta equals 65. Okay. But there needs to be a minimum claim, way more than a pruta. 64 times a pruta. Now, what's the minimum denial? There's also minimum denial. According to Shmuel, the minimum denial, I deny a pruta. That's the minimum. It could be way more, but the minimum denial of a pruta, and I admit a pruta. According to Rav, no. According to Rav, the denial must be 2 kesef. When the Torah talks about 2 kesef, the Torah we learned in the Gemara, the Torah says kesef means 2. It's talking about the denial. Mimela Rav knows that the claim must be 2 plus 1. 1 pruta. Because if the denial is 2 pruta, 2 kesef, and the haidah is 1 pruta, so 2 plus 1 pruta equals 2 plus 1 pruta. That's why he says the claim must be at least 2 kesef and 1 pruta. Okay, that's one of the things we learned yesterday. Another thing we learned yesterday, and I'm showing this because Yoshi is a big tzaddik, and I'm showing behind the scenes, something behind the scenes. Yoshi worked on this particular thing for 3-4 hours. Don't ask me why, there's a lot of detail here. He has a golden muffin, 1 gold muffin or 25 silver muffins for 1,000, shava. There's dafkin shava. Anyway, to make a long story short, after he showed it to me, I said, I don't like it. I don't like it. I said, I don't understand what you... if I don't understand it 100%, I don't think other people... There'll be other people like me, not as quick as you guys, maybe on my level, and they won't... It doesn't pop, whatever. Anyway, I don't know if the improvement is better or not, but he said, he told me, he dumps it. Dumped it and started working on the next one. Took him a few hours to do the next one. So here's the next one. This is something that we developed. We're talking about a change. What's dafka? Dafka is very simple. Dafka means he claims a bar of gold and he admits to a bar of silver. Similar to a guy claims you owe me wheat and he admits to barley, which we said that according to most Tanaim, that's not a Moedim Miktas. You're not chayav a Shevuah. It's not mimina taina. If I claim gold and you say I owe silver, that's nothing. Erase. What does shava mean? Shava means it might be a bar of gold, but I'm talking in terms of value. How much money is this worth? Now I looked it up. 1 ounce of gold today is $3,300 today. That was yesterday. It might have gone up. 1 ounce of silver, by the way, Rabbi says $36.
Might have gone down.
It might have gone down. It's because there was a taisis when we were learning that sugya. There's it's an interesting taisis because it says that a din of zav is like 25 times kesef, and taisis says it's impossible. It's like it doesn't make sense. Like let's change it. Maybe it's only this. It's like how could it be such a difference in gold and silver? He says in our days it's not like that. He says, and look at the difference now, 100. So yeah, it's 100 times more. $3,336. Akapanim, that's not the point there. What came out of the guy's mouth? Did the guy say you owe me a bar of gold, or did he say you owe me $3,300 in a bar of gold? If he says shava, the shavius, the value, if he's talking about value, so even if I admit the $36 worth of silver, it's mimina taina. I said you owe me $3,300, and you said no, it's only $36. That's a typical classic Moedim Miktas. That's some of the taina. I asked you for $3,300 and you said no, you owe me, and it's more than a pruta, $36 more than a pruta, so it works according to everybody. And the taina is more than 2 kesef, so it's perfect. Everything's great. But that's shava. Basically, we're going to go back and forth now between dafka and shava. Dafka means I demand something specific, gold, and you answer me no, it's silver. Shava means I demand an amount, the shavius, an amount, and you answer me less than that amount. So let's see it now. 4 lines from the bottom. Amud Beis. It makes a lot of sense that our Mishnah is dafka, that he claimed he wants gold and instead he got silver. B'diktani seifa, because it says at the end, litra zav yesh lebiyadcha. This is, I just put this through this in here for today. The Gemara calls it now a seifa in blue. Litra is a certain weight. Zahav, you owe me a certain amount, 28 grams of gold. You owe me an ounce, a litra, an ounce of gold. And he says, Ein lecha biyadi ela litra kesef. And he says, no, I only owe you an ounce of silver. Potter. Think about it. Why is he potter? Let's think. Forget anything we know. Why is he potter? I asked you for an ounce of gold, and you said you owe me an ounce of silver. Potter. Why is he potter? What?
It's not mimina taina.
It's not mimina taina. That's much better. It's not mimina taina. But that only makes sense if that's the pshat in the Mishnah, that we're talking about dafka, that he spoke about gold. What if he didn't say gold? He meant an ounce of gold, which is $3,300. You owe me $3,300, and he answered him, no, I only owe you $36. Oh yeah, an ounce of silver, $36. Chayiv a potter. In that case, you'd be chayiv. So why does it say potter? Is a raya that the Mishnah is talking about dafka and not shava. Because it was talking about shava, you'd be chayiv a shvuah here. Because we all know that gold is much more valuable than silver, and the Gemara actually says those words. And he says, "Ein l'cha biyadi ela litra kesef potter." If he was claiming, I dafka want a bar of gold, and he answered him, I'll give you a bar of silver, Mishamachi potter. But if he asked him if he demanded $3,600, and he answered him, I'll give you $36, I might potter. Litra tuva havi. The gold is worth much more than the silver, and there's definitely a ma'adim mixas here. So what do we see? Element the sefer dafka. So in this case, the blue case is dafka. It's a case where he asked him from it was not memina taina, like Ari said so Geshemak. He asked him for gold and he answered him silver. Element sefer dafka, reisha nami dafka. So what's the reisha? That red thing. You owe me 2 pieces of silver. And he answers him, I only owe you a piece of copper. Pruta's copper, potter. Now it makes sense because it's dafka. But so the whole Mishnah has to be consistent. The blue case is dafka, the red case is dafka. Consistency. But now I have a big problem. Because I could be medayik now that if the top case was not dafka, but something else called shava, so let's do it again. You owe me 64 prutas. And he says, I don't owe you 64. I only owe you 1. Chayva potter. Chayva shvuah. That's a ma'adim mixas. The taina was 64 prutas, and he answered him, I only owe you 1. So why did he say potter? But the problem is that according to Rav, this is a big problem. Why? Because Rav says shtei keseh doesn't work. Shtei keseh, in that case you would be chayiv. Not true. According to Rav, you'd be potter. Why?
It's not enough. You must have 2 fruits.
You need 2 plus 1. And over here it's mashma that 2 flat would be chayiv if it was shava. What?
According to Rav, this could be shava, the reisha.
Right, but we just established the reisha is dafka because the seif is dafka. If the seif is dafka, the reisha is dafka. And if the reisha is dafka, I could infer from that if the same case happened in shava, you'd be chayiv a shvuah. But the problem is that according to Rav, you'd be potter shvuah. Why? Because the taina must be at least 2 kesef plus pruta, but it doesn't say that in the Mishnah. It says 2 kesef, and that only works according to Shmuel. Lema to have it to the Rav, so l'chari that's be a big kash on Rav. Omalach Rav, kul mastis and shava, v'litr zav shani. He says an unbelievable teretz. Typically speaking, we look at a Mishnah, we say everything. Hold on, we say everything is talking right, but we'll get to the third part in a second. That's why I put all 3. Typically speaking, the Mishnah has to be consistent. If one thing is dafka, then the whole Mishnah is dafka. No. Take a look. It says litra. I put it in green. Litra is an amount. He said specifically an ounce of gold. Of course, an ounce of gold. Kim Sarai, we have 2 seats for guests right over here. Come in. Mario, how do we know we're going to have 4 guests today? I mean 5, 6. But we have a table just for you. Here, come. Let them sit over there. There's Gemaras even. Okay, so where were we? Let's go back over here. Litra. Typically, the whole Mishnah would be dafka, but not this case. This is a yotzim and a klal. If I start a case talking about weight, so I'm talking about dafka. Weight is not an amount. Weight is this amount. I'm asking you for a litra zav, and you answer me. I ask you for a weight of not an amount, not the shavis, not the value, but the weight of it. And then you answer me, I'll give you the same weight in kesef. That's potter. But the reisha might be talking about shava. You're right, the reisha is shava. That's what he's saying. You got it wrong. The whole Mishnah is shava. This one case that says straight out, we're talking about a weight. Okay, that case is talking about dafka. Okay, next. Daf Amud Aleph. Let me prove to you that the whole Mishnah is talking about shava. Shava. What does shava mean? I demand a certain amount of money, $3,600, and you answer me 36. The Katari Seifa, here, so I just threw it in here. The red on the bottom. You owe me a whole golden coin. And he answers, and he answered, I only owe you silver or a pudyon or pruta chayav. Why? Shakol min matbeya achas. Dinner kesef with trees of pudyon pruta chayav shakol min matbeya achas. Think about it. Now, this case, I demand a golden coin, and you answer me, no, I'll give you a silver coin. That's not minataina. So what should be the halacha? Potter. No, but it says in the Mishnah Chayev. We must say that it's talking about shava. I asked you for the value of the golden coin, and you answer me, I'll give you the value. I asked you for $3,600, and you said I'll give you $36. Not $3,300, but $36. That's shava, and that's why you're chayev. Shumach chayev. Eli dafka. Amay chayev. Okay, so it makes a lot of sense. Everything is shava. The whole mission is shava. Now it actually makes more sense that it goes according to the Rav. The Reish is also shava. The Sefer is only the middle case, which the Gemara called before Sefer. The middle case in blue, that's talking about dafka because it talks about litra. What's beautiful about Daf Yomi, Rabbi Eli, is that if you're in a sugya like this and sometimes your head starts spinning and what's going on, I don't get it, you wait 5 minutes and then there's a brand new sugya, brand new, Bamis, nothing to do with this, and it's gonna flow. It's gonna be geschmack and easy. Shalom, what's your name?
Avrumi Spitzer.
Avrumi Spitzer from where? It's not nice. So you know the Chevra over there. You're all part of it.
Yeah, of course.
Geschmack Chevra. Yeah, you just spoke about him.
Yeah, they have a
Penny.
satellite.
They have a satellite there.
Not satellite, but they sit live. Yeah. They
When?
sit every
How
day.
often?
They sit every day.
Not sure, but
You're not sure. Now you're gonna be sure. What's your son? Nephew, Shalom Aleichem. Okay. Weiter. This thing that it says the kesef, treeses, punyan, so it reminded me of a story. You say it's a Ma'aseh Shaya. A chassan.
Finish with the sugi.
A chassan. Sugis are later. Stories come first. A chassan. Somebody invited a chassan to come with the chevra to Miron. The guy didn't have any money, zero. And he starts doing a cheshbon. I have to get a hotel room. I have to pay for the bed. I have to pay for the food and the bus. Everything was what am I going to do? And then he said, you know what? It's for Shabbos. HaKadosh Baruch Hu pays for Shabbos. Levu alai v'ani efra. You know, it's the covered Shabbos. Okay, so he goes. Turns out that it costed him 388 shekel and 60 agurot. Mamish, like that. The other's 300. Anyway, Motzei Shabbos, he meets his Kala, and his Kala gives him a gift. He gives him a wallet, and he opens up the wallet. She says, no, look inside. He opens up the wallet. He sees money. He starts counting. 388 and 60 agurot. He says, what's going on? Ruach HaKodesh. He says, why? Why did you give me 388 and 60? She says, I figured I want a bracha. I want you to have bracha in all money. So I gave you a 200 shekel bill, a 100 shekel bill, a 50, a 20, a 10, 5, 1, half, and 10 agurot. It's 388 and 60. Mamish levu alai v'ani perez. So we had the same exact story. Mamish, exact same story. First of all, when I said the story in Hebrew, two guys started laughing. Zechariah, half the Manulan, Zechariah Manulan, and Gertner. He's a Rebbe in Cheder. Zechariah gave the Rebbe in Cheder that exact amount, 388 and 60. He gave him one for Purim. He gave him one of each. And he started laughing. Okay, fine. But the famous mice that we had, Eliyahu Jacobs, a big masmid. He sits here in Koilel every day. He sits till like 4 o'clock in the afternoon by himself with a sandwich. He doesn't go home at 1 o'clock like everybody. He stays here till 4. This guy, on Purim, when I was giving out the bonuses, he came to me, whatever. I said, here's the bonus in the envelope. He says, could I guess how much it is? You heard the story already, Rabbi?
I think so.
This wasn't in the emails. This is the middle shiur. So I don't know.
I stay because of the emails. I stay because there might be a good story.
If somebody didn't hear this mice, if you knew, I say this all the time. It's unbelievable. I said, he wants to guess how much. I said, sure, go ahead, guess. So I don't remember the amount. It was off. It was 3,627 shekel inside this envelope because I took all the money that people donated. I just cut it up into 10 pieces because it's 10 guys and put it in. So he guessed within like 2-3 shekel. Like, how do you do it? He said that the night before he found an envelope with money, not from one of our guys, not random. And he worked really hard to return it. It took him hours. A Purim night, he says, I was wasting. I was busy with this instead of busy with the Shalchamanos, who knows what. And it was exactly that amount. And I told the Rebbeinu Shalom, I'm working so hard. It's like a tease. I had this money in my hand, and I'm being mekayim the mitzvah of Shavos Aveda. I'm sure I'm going to get it back. And now you give me an envelope, boom, the same exact amount. Okay, right there. Now we can do the sugya, Mendy. Now I'm going to do the sugya. Now that you understand this, it'll be much more geschmack. Omar Rebbe Lazar. So now, this makes sense. Our Mishnah makes sense with Shava. It doesn't make sense with Dafka. So a good raya that we're talking about Shava, the whole Mishnah, all these cases are Shava besides the literal one, that's Dafka. What happened was, a guy, he sued for a minted coin. A minted coin. I saw this Yavitz yesterday. It was like, and Yoshi threw it in. So like, okay, you did it. He tells me no. He says, I'm doing it for the shtick. I'm not showing it. I told him show it because I found this Yavitz afterwards. So I said, okay, you can show it. There was a coin that they minted in Europe, in Hungary, on one of the Rabbanim over there with the Rav's face. So the Yavitz didn't like it. He said, first of all, it's osir. How do you mint a coin with somebody's face? You're not allowed to mint things. Second of all, isn't that a little gaivadik? So where's the anova? I know this Rav to be a big anov. It's impossible that he agreed to it. And that was that. So when Yoshi did this, I was like, whatever. Higiya zman, giulaschem.
Who's on the other side?
All right, so here's the case. The case is Dinozov Libiyotcha. He asked him for gold. So we thought it's gold. Gold. He asked him one thing, and he answered him punya. He says no. He asked him for a minted coin, minted, and he answered him, "I'll give you a pruta that's minted." That is dafka, and dafka, and they're actually the same, because he asked it for minted, and he got back a minted. Yeah, one is worth 100,000 times more than the other. It's not a big deal, or 4,800 times more than the other, to be exact. So, sorry. Become mashmalon the pruto bechlamet beis. So, and the chiddush is that this is, even though it's such a difference in, it's still considered a minted coin. Why does it talk about the type, what it is? It doesn't talk about shava. It talks about min matbeya. Like you said, it's the same min matbeya achas. It's all from the same family. Rav, and how's Rav going to explain this? Shakol din matbeya achas. The chiddush is that even though, here, this is a tremendous chiddush, even though the one on the left, not pudyan, it should have said pruta.
You and that one.
Oh, here, pruta. You see this? There's the gold, and here's the pruta. Now, if you look closely, it is minted. Now, I would think that this is not Moed Miktsas. But he says, look, you asked for $100, I admit to 50. We asked for 4,800, and I admit to one, because the pruta, 4,800 prutas is one gold coin. I think not. Come on, the yes. Okay. So, sorry. So now, we said that this part right over here, the red on the bottom, we just decided that's talking about minted coins, and we're talking about dafka. It's dafka. It's a case of dafka. I want a minted coin, and I admit it to a minted coin. Chayev Shevuos. So then what about shtei kesef on top? Should also be dafka, because everything has to be consistent. We said a Mishnah is always consistent. No. Reisha, I would think, Reisha namik is shmul tzvirle, that it has to be dafka. Loi seifa dafka diktani shakol min matbei achas. Reisha karav oike shmul. Says Gemara. Typically speaking, everything has to be consistent. But since the seifa says Shakol min matbei achas, I put it in green, all the way in the bottom. So it's similar to what we said before by litra. This is a special case of shakol min matbei achas. It's minted. But the rest of the Mishnah could be either shava or dafka. This case is a case of dafka because it says before shakol min matbei achas. The reisha could be talking about shava if you want. Could be talking about dafka if you want. Tashma. A guy said, you owe me a minted coin, and he admitted to one of silver chayav. Why? Because it's all a matbeya. It's only because he said minted. The you see, like Rav. And that's why he's part. No, we're not talking about a minted coin. We're talking about, he said, stam. He didn't say zav, zahuv. He said dinner zav, without the word zahuv. It's not minted. But if anybody that says a golden coin, dinner zav dami. That's what he wanted to be. It's as if he said minted. Then that's it. Then we're done. New sugya. Two more lines. I have a raya to Rav that what? That the kfira must be 2 kesef. It says, sell it biyotcha. You owe me a silver coin. And he says, what's the kfira? Rabbi said, remember, what is the kfira? Anybody remember? How much does a kfira have to be? How much do I have to deny? You say 2? Machlaikis. It's either 2 or a pruta. So now let's read this again. And he denies, and he says, over here he said, the denial is 2 kesef, chayav. What? But chaser ma, what if the kfira was only 1 ma, which is much more than a pruta? I'll show you here. I don't remember exactly what it is, but you can do the math here. 1 ma equals 2 pudyan, which equals 2 issa, which equals 2 mismas, which equals 2 prutas. So a ma on top of the list is much more than a pruta. Since it's not enough kfira, patur. No, what do you see over here? That the kfira has to be 2. It's not enough to say a ma. Okay, so that's a raya to Rav. Now we're holding in a brand new thing. Rabbi say, hold on. Very easy. Shkar for coming. Omer Menachem bar Yitzchak. Omer Shmuel. When do you have all this thing that you need a 2 kesef business? Everybody holds you need 2 kesef, yeah? You need 2 kesef, you need a taina of 2 kesef, or 2 in a pruta. That's only when there's a loiv and a malva. But if the loiva is in complete denial, he's kaifer akol, he doesn't admit to anything, but there's a eid echad that backs up the lender, the malva. Even 1 pruta, he is chayiv. My time we had this pasuk in this masechta that an eid echad is not good enough to bring a punishment. You can't use an eid echad for punishment. But you could use him for a shvuah. Even 1 eid echad could invoke a shvuah. V'tanyan, I'll prove it to you. Anytime 2 eidim could obligate a person to pay money, in that exact case, but there's only 1 eid to testify, he'll be mechayev a shvuah. V'amar. Oh, Rabbi, I have a question for you. Think about this question. What happens if I sue you for a bar of gold and a bar of silver, and you admit to me that you owe me the bar of gold? Is that a moed of a miktas? No. Sounds like it? What? It's 2 different tainas, but now you're saying you potter. You're arguing with Ari. Anybody want to jump in on this? Again, case. He says machlaikis. We have 3 sheetas here. He says, I'm suing you for a bar of gold and a bar of silver. 2 things. You know what? I'll make it simpler. I want you to pay me wheat and barley. And I admit to the barley. It's mamish a different case, almost. It's the same case. So here's the sugya. Tani chitim usayrim. He sued him for two things, two different items. And he admitted to one of them. Chayav. That's a typical case of Moedim Mixas says Shmuel. He said great. Rabbi Yochanan also admits that if you sue for two things and you admit to one, what's the difference? If it's $100, he admitted to $50, or he sued him for a bar of gold and silver and admitted to the gold, he admitted to partial. But we're going to see that there are those who say the Rebbe said the opposite. Says the Gemara Meklal, the Polygalei Rish Lakish is like a gata over here. If Rabbi Yochanan says it and we don't see anything about Rish Lakish, Rish Lakish argues. Iked is there's two pshatim why we don't hear from Rish Lakish. Misha have a shay le v'shasik le. Rabbi Yochanan was waiting. Rish Lakish waited for Rabbi Yochanan, says Rashi, to finish all his rayas and tainus and everything on the sugya. When he's done, then he attacks. My father used to love this line. Anytime I would learn with him, and he would ask me a kasha, and I would answer. So he said, Reb Shmuel Rozovsky used to say in Panovich, by the Shir Klali, all the Bachram, if you ever went to Shir Klali in these yeshivas, the Rosh Yeshiva says something, he started attacking him from all the sides, yelling, and you can't hear anything. So Reb Shmuel Rozovsky would scream out, Lost Hanabim from the kasha. Enjoy the question. Before you jump to an answer, but appreciate the question. Shlakish used to appreciate Rabbi Yochanan's psak. Listen for a minute, let him finish completely. Like, you got to be a good listener. Listen, let the person finish a sentence and his rayas. Then I'll tell you why I completely disagree with you. Like in all Shas, Rish Lakish argues with Rabbi Yochanan. The Likutei Rashi over here says, if you have it on the side, you can check over there. He says, Min hagisha Rish Lakish kishoiber Rabbi Yochanan shmua sheina moedeloi. Even if he didn't admit, shahar Rish Lakish, he would wait shah oishatayim. He would wait for an hour or two, whatever an hour means in the time of the Gemara, a nice period of time. Why? Maybe, you know what? It's what? Maybe Rabbi Yochanan would take it back, I think. So but Rabbi Yitzchak didn't wait around 2 hours. So he lost the opportunity, never heard what Rish Lakish said about it. Another pshat. He was drinking water or something. Rabbi Lakish was busy drinking. So, and Rabbi Yitzchak left, and then Rabbi Lakish argued. And could be that they argued.
That's why you don't leave shiur early.
What?
That's why you don't leave shiur early.
Well, that maybe I shouldn't be drinking in public because there's a whole shaila. If you're allowed to drink in public and not drinking, they bring rice from here. Anyway, fine. There's the idea of the Gemara says over here from the fact that he was quiet. Maybe he's moida, like they say about the Rambam and the Ravid. Anytime the Ravid doesn't argue in the Rambam, that's equal like two Rishonim that agree to the same thing. Like, where is he? Where's the Ravid? How come he's not? Yeah. Somebody once asked the Chazon Ish, "Is it true the story they said about you?" So the Chazon Ish said, "Most of the stories they say about me are not true." So I'm thinking to myself, even this story is probably not true. Okay, fine. They said. So the guy says, okay, so if it's not true, so how come you should come out with a kol kair, put up a poster somewhere that this story is not true. He said, well, yeah, but if I do that, then they'll say all the other stories that I didn't come out with the kol kair are true. So I got to be careful. So I don't say anything. Okay. Says the Gemara, I have a great raya to Shmuel. It's a great raya. Now, by the way, everything we're going to read now, everything, word for word, on Amud Beis is repeated. So we can move. Wow, we really do have to move. So what's the raya? Simple raya. What does it say in the Mishnah? The famous case, I asked you for wheat, and you told me you owe me barley. That's the case of Tana B'chidim V'Ayid B'Sayir, Potter. Says the Gemara, Taima, the Tana B'chidim V'Ayid B'Sayir. The Mishnah only talks about Chitim, and he admits to Sayrim. Hachitim Usayrim, what if he claimed you owe me both? That it doesn't say in the Mishnah. And he admitted to one, Chayev. Otherwise it would say that also. Law, he's not a good raya. No, that case he would also be part if he claimed two. You owe me barley and wheat, and he admitted to the barley, he would be part. Why did he argue? To tell me that even in such a case, Rabbi Gamliel says you're Chayev. There's an interesting Taisis on the bottom here, last Taisis. The milsa the Rabbanan have a koyach the ptur. Usually speaking, the koyach of a teir is much stronger. Over here, we're talking about a suffix mammon. It's likula, so to be machmer is better. Okay, fine. Tashma. Tani kelim b'karkois. I have another right. It says in the Mishnah, somebody claimed you owe me vessels and real estate. The rule is, what's the rule? There's no shvuah on karka. So if you admit to karka, there's no shvuah. If you admit to the kelim, no karka. There's no shvuah in such a case. Take the karka out of the equation for the most part. He admitted to the karka, but he denied the movable objects. Potter. Daf Amud Beis. If he admitted to some of the real estate, potter. But here's the big chiddush that we had yesterday: b'mixas kelim. But if he admitted to some of the movable objects, chayiv. What is he chayiv for, Rabbi Eli? Also on the karka. Why? Oh, Gilgul Shvuah. The idea of Gilgul Shvuah. Time of the kelim karkais. The Gemara has a beautiful raya. It's only because he claimed movable objects and non-movable objects, real estate. The karka labas shvuah because there's no shvuah on the karka. Ha kelim v'kelim. But our case of chitim and soirim, Duvie the kelim v'karka is similar to the same case, but two different items that are movable. Chayiv, you would be chayiv. Says Gemara, no. Who adin dafilu kelim v'kelim nami potter? No. In such a case, you would be potter. But how the kelim v'karka? So why does the Mishnah talk about a case of kelim v'karka, which is less of a chiddush? That's the chiddush that we say Gilgul Shvuah. Ask the Gemara. Everybody remember when we're talking about Gilgul Shvuah, everybody jumped up and said, "Oh, Gilgul Shvuah." Where do we know it from? From Kiddushin. So if I already know it from Kiddushin, why do I need it again over here? Michael Mashalon Zagikin, this concept of Gilgul Shvuah. Tanina Zagim Zanachas says the Gemara, bomb thing. Ha Iker. This sugi right here is the main source. Why? Because if you look on top of the page, what Masechta are we doing? Shevuos. So I need to tell you that if I have such a shvuah, then I can do another shvuah. If I'm already doing a shvuah on the metal, then I can do a shvuah on the karka. But over there in Kiddushin, that's not hilchas shvuas. Over there it's hilchas. What's shvuas all about? Ha'isha niknes b'shloisha dorachim kinyanim. The whole Masechta is all about kinyanim. And there we're talking about here. Let me remind you. Remember this one? That if I admit to karka. Yeah? Remember that sugya? What? This is kinyanim. If I acquire karka, I have kinyanagav. Remember kinyanagav? I told you, you threw this into AI. Look what came out. Much better. It's crazy stuff. It's crazy stuff. Okay. Oh, yeah, go. Nazbo. Here we go again. The whole sugya all over again, word for word. Another 20 lines for free. Sponsors. Before we get to the freebie. I forgot to show you the video. Let me show you the video and then remind me to sponsor because I'm going to forget to show it to you. Here we go. A little bit of a...
And Schuldix, can you hold this for me for a bit? I need to toiver in the mikveh before eating Reb Shaile's food. Oh no, he's about to come back. What? Where is my food? That's what you gave me. Oh, come on. Do you really think I flew to Hungary for a stick of rice cake?
Okay. Gosh. You never went to Kirstir, so you don't know. Mendy, why did we go to Kirstir?
That's what it is, for the fleisch.
There's Gishmaka steaks there, no? Yeah. Gishmaka steaks. All right, sponsors. Thank you. Turning to the Daf Sivan. Innovations I'll see in honor of my son, our sons Kalman Yisrael for learning Sanhedrin, Makis, Shevuos. With Reb Eli. Adar Global, going global to Chazik them, MDY Chevra on the East Coast. See you there. Anonymous. In honor of all the holy tzaddikim that work so hard to bring us the Dav every day with no credit given, enough said. I think he's referring to Reb Nachman Seltzer, but I don't know. Reb Chia Bar Abba Reb Yochanan. A guy claimed two things and he admitted to one, Potter, before we said Chayev. That's the Gemara of Omer Yitzchak Yishar. You're saying great, V'chein Omer Reb Yochanan, that you're Chayev. Says the Gemara, Amaroi, Nino Ali with Reb Yochanan, it's actually Machlokes Amaroi and what Reb Yochanan said. Toshma, now we can fly. I'll bring you a raya. It says, Potter. He only claimed one, but he admitted to something else, Potter. Bring Reb Eli Mechayev, and Reb Eli says Chayev. Time of the Donah Chidim Vayda B'Sayrim. It's only because it's 1 and 1. He only claimed 1. Hachidim B'Sayrim, Vayda B'Echabem. But if he claimed 2 Chidim and Sayrim, Chayev. So you're right. Even the case of claiming 2, you'd also be potter. Why did it say like this? To tell me even this case, Reb Eli says Chayev. If I'm going too fast for you, go back to Amud Aleph and you'll see the whole sugya there. He claimed the Yomi vessels and real estate. And he admitted to 1. Potter. If he admitted to some of the karka, potter. The mixes kelim, chayev. This is mamish the top of the summit. Time of the kelim karka. It's only because it's movable objects and real estate. Because there's no shvu on the karka. But if it would be 2 movable objects, do me the kelim karka, like the same case of kelim karka. Chayev. You would be chayev. It's a raya. No, who I didn't have to kelim nami potter. Even if it's both movable objects, you be potter. But kamashmalon, the hoyde mixes kelim chayev af alikakois. The chiddush is that we do gilgul shvua. My kamashmalon zogim that gilgul shvua. Tanina, we learned in kiddushin. Zogim sana chadushin shlam chayz shalayan. Ha'ikir. This mesechus shvuas. This is the main place. Ayagav groinazma, but over there in kiddushin, because we were already talking about something, so we threw it in over there. Eisvei. Okay, so now it's new. Eisvei Rabbi Mamel Reb Chia Barabba. Yes, Mikasha. Simple stuff. Tani shar b'hoyde lebeseh. What's that? I ask you for chitim, you're moed b'sayrim. I ask you for a bull, you admit it to a sheep. Sev ha'idle b'shar, or the opposite, potter. Why? It's not miminatayna, you potter. What about tani b'shar v'seh? He claimed for two things. V'idle b'echol mem chayev. Oh, so you see, it's chayev, not potter. If I admit to 1 out of the 2, you're chayev. Amalei. Oh, how many Reb Eli? That goes like Reb Eli in the Mishnah. Just to remind the Oilam what's Reb Eli in the Mishnah. Here, Tani Chidim Vayla B'Sayrim Potter, Reb Eli Mechayev. We said before, Reb Eli holds in this exact case. If I ask you for one thing, you admit to 1. So Gemara, Reb Eli Lafila Reisha Nami. This Reisha that I ask you for a bull and you admit it to a sheep, why is it Potter? It says in this brayso Potter. Oh, okay, you're right. We have to take it back. Elo Amani Admini. It goes according to the next man Domer. It says in the Mishnah. Hatoyin l'chaveri b'kadish shemen. What's Kaddish Shemen? You owe me a full vessel of oil. But there's 2 components here. This is the glass jar, the barrel, the wooden barrel, and the content inside, the oil. It's 2 things. And what did he admit to? He admitted to the vessel. So what does Amin say over here? You have to swear. So that's mamashit. If he claimed 2 things and he admitted to 1 out of the 2, then you're chayiv. But if you only claimed 1 thing and you admit to something completely different, that's why you put in the ratio. Says the Gemara. I'm not trying to push you off and tell you it goes like Admin. Talmud Aruchu Befisher Rabbi Yochanan used to say this all the time. Hamani Admini. He was the one that used to say this. That it's Admin. Omer Avanon, Omer Shmuel Toni Chitim v'Kodim v'Hoydel B'Sarim. Great case. A guy tells his friend, listen, you owe me wheat and right before he says barley, the guy jumps in, I owe you barley. What did he accomplish? Because if you admit to something right before the guy claims it, that's it, you're done for life, you don't have to pay for it. So he admitted to the barley. And he even finished the sentence after, and barley. Too late, you admitted to it. So what's the halacha? Im kemarim chayiv. The bezin looks and they look at the videotape. If they see that he did it on purpose to get out of it, chayiv. Im b'miskavim, but if he had no intent to do it, it just came out of his mouth like that, potter. Rabbi say, what's the minimal denial that a person needs? What's the minimal denial? We said a machloikis, either 2 kesef or bruta. So what if I deny a needle? You claim I owe you 2 needles, I deny 1 needle. A needle is not worth 2 kesef, it's not worth 64 brutas. Is it a good moedim mixas or not? Is the kind of moedim mixas according to Rav? Do you need 2 kesef? Says the Gemara, yes. Chayav. You don't need 2 kesef over here. Why? Because it's a kli. Kli is different. Omer Papa. This we have to do slow and inside. Very simple though. Tani kelim upruta. He demanded 2 separate things: vessels and a pruta. So we have 2 items. Potter. If he admitted to the kelim, but what was his denial? A pruta. How much does his denial have to be? Rabbi Isai? 2 kesef, and his denial is only a pruta. It's potter. Why is it potter? Because he didn't have a real denial. You need 2 kesef. But if I admitted to the pruta and I denied a kli chayav, who could that be like? That has to be exactly the case that we said before. I admitted to one out of the two things that you're chayav. That we said, we explained when we were learning it, that you have to have a denial of two kesef. If I claim two things and I admit to one, chayiv, you're chayiv, Rabboisai. Have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shiur today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.